Hi, everybody. I wanted to do an update on my book, Team Electrification, and where I'm at with my research and things I found. And I think it's important to address something first before we can really talk about addressing climate change. And in the short term, it's climate doomerism. People are convinced that we can't act fast enough. It's already too late. We know what the solutions are, but we just don't have the physical ability to do them, or that maybe the people in charge don't really know what's happening and it's all pointless, so why even bother trying? And there was a brief period of time, I'll admit, I kind of felt that way. Like, I don't think we can increase our electrical generation enough to do what we need to do. We don't have the transmission capacity to deliver all that power. I don't know if we have enough copper to make all the transformers. I don't think we have the manufacturing capacity to meet that increased need. I don't know if we have enough nickel. There aren't enough people to do the work. We don't have enough of a trained labor force. And when you look at all of this together, you say, on paper it sounds nice, but how is this going to get accomplished? Then I begin my research and I start meeting people, thought leaders, different organizations, and start realizing that for about the last 4 years or so, there really has been stuff happening. The Department of Energy, I've recently learned, is way more on top of it than I thought they were. If you want to get really caught up to date on some important stuff in a really clear fashion that tells you what's going to happen over the next 25 years, there's something called the Liftoff Reports, which is publicly available information. It talks about the fact that they have plans for 5 to 50 nuclear plants that will get built over the next 10 years. There are plans to increase our transmission capacity. That could also take 10 years. That's a problem if you're hearing that we need to act faster than that. But then they go into virtual power plants. Most people don't even know what they are. It's a relatively new concept, really only a couple, several years old that it's had any real traction, which is essentially distributed power using batteries, solar, wind, and putting things at the end of the electrical line so that it can feed out when it needs to. It could mean reverse charging your car and taking this network of Teslas or something all around the country and using them to help feed the grid. But the difference is these are not 10-year solutions. These are things that can get implemented very, very quickly. And in some cases already are. They're already doing it in Vermont. They're already starting tests for that in California, and I believe it's already helped them prevent a problem that would have possibly been a big outage. If you read the liftoff reports, they address item by item these things that I was concerned about. Like, if you think we don't have enough lithium for all the batteries that we're going to need, you have 1-year-old information. In the last year, we have found 2 of the biggest deposits of lithium in the world right in the United States. It's just going to take us a few years to really get at it. We are having a shortage of copper, but the federal government is putting its power behind helping the mining companies increase their capacity, helping them recycle more of what's existing to make it go further. And we don't have to mine it. It's the same for nickel and rare earth elements. From a labor standpoint, I was extremely concerned that everything's going to cost so much more because there aren't enough people and the labor price will be inflationary. But this is the beginning of what I think is going to be a new golden era for the unions. We need a seriously well-trained labor force, and that's what the unions are really good at. And the unions for some years were shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, and this energy transition is the moment for them to rise back up. So let me see what else. Liftoff reports. They're on the cusp of being able to roll out hydrogen power for certain applications. I realize people don't necessarily want that in their car or in their house for various reasons, but for large industry, for smelting, for concrete, for industries that just need enormous intensive amounts of power that have usually used coal power plants or things along that line to get what they need, hydrogen could actually be the green solution that they need. As I go down the list of these things that I thought we would never be able to come up with a solution for in time, there are people that are actually finding those solutions. And the fact that they even brought me out to ask me about some of my ideas shows that they're on the right path. The politicians, the scientists, the policy people, the manufacturers, the distributors, the contractors, and the general population, we all want the same thing. The entire world is pouring everything they've got into this. And from what I can tell, it's working, but it's going to appear painfully slow for a little while. And then what I'm predicting is going to happen is in a couple years, everything is going to come together at once. All of these manufacturing plants that are getting built in the US are going to open. These copper mines are going to increase their production. The unions are already scaling up their apprenticeship programs right now and training them on new technology that they weren't even a year or two ago, where in 4 years, we're going to have this new highly trained labor force to go with this freshly manufactured American-made equipment with resources that are sourced on this side of the planet. There's so much to be optimistic about that I feel like I have to get the word out, because I'm not sure the people in charge are terribly good at actually taking credit for some of the good things that they're doing. And people on the ground are really upset and distraught and feel a sense of doom. And I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I think we're going to not only solve these problems, but it's actually going to be better than it ever was. And I'm going to do more installments in the future about why I believe that's the case. I guess we'll see if I'm right someday. Bye.